Hello. I think I figured it out. I'm so sorry. Basically, the stream was. I'm filming this on my phone. The stream was actually playing on my phone while it was recording. So hopefully, some of you were able to hop over to this one. I ended it and I couldn't restart it. Anyway, I warned you it would be a bit of a mess. Hopefully, some people found their way back. For those who did find their way back, thank you. I'm very sweaty now from the stress of that not working. The stress we put on ourselves. I'm also sweaty because our natural gas pipes are right above my head and they're blasting out so much heat right now. But enough about how sweaty I am. Let's talk about Nerf since I'm running a little bit late. I wanted to do this stream for one main reason, and that's because the live tab, when I went to videos, shorts, and live, was empty. So I thought it would be fun to do a live. And Matt and I one night, we watched USMC Nerf Daddy do a stream. He had some friends on, and he had Dr. Flux on, and he did some giveaways. And you know what? I feel like he was feeling for me as I was trying to get stuff sorted out. But you know what? We sat, we had fun, we talked about stuff, we enjoyed what we saw on it. And I was like, I would like to do that. Matt was going to join tonight, but we have a massive snowstorm here, so he couldn't make it. So I know now that his life is more important than my Nerf channel, which hurts, but we're going to get past it. This year was a really cool year for doing Nerf stuff. I've been collecting for a couple years, but this year I did a bunch of parties, which was really, really fun. I like kids, which is a good thing. There's 5 of them in the house usually. And I like playing games and things like that. So I had a good time. I ran parties for smaller kids. I ran parties for teenagers. And I did run one grown-up birthday party for people mostly in their mid-30s to early 40s. And that was a good time too. When I'm doing parties, and I'm probably going to do a stream sometime just about parties and running games and what kind of games work. Parties, if I learned one thing, is try to keep it super, super simple. I run a lot of strong arms and I run a lot of rough cuts. Nothing with magazines if I can help it, especially if kids haven't played a whole lot. I just like to keep it simple. Every time I don't, I regret it, and I end up taking a bunch of stuff, and I'm just supporting kids on jamming their blasters. If you were playing a regular community game or something, I'm sure that wouldn't be as much of a deal, which I would like to get going, hopefully maybe in the spring. But until that time, it is kind of a big deal. So it's a lot of these, and these are fun. We were going to talk tonight. Matt got me a bunch of classic Nerf for Christmas. I think this is probably my favorite one of them. I'm going to fire this one. It is, it goes on this dart goes on the end of the scorpion's tail. You prime it like this, and when you squeeze the trigger, the scorpion tail fires a dart. Every time I show this to someone, they're super blown away. The kids are like, why doesn't Nerf do stuff like this anymore? And honestly, Nerf is at its best when it's doing weird stuff, not performance stuff. But anyway, the Scorpion one from the 90s is one of my favorites. I'm not going to talk about these too much. I'm going to wait and do that with Matt sometime, whether it's a live or another video. I'm going to save it. But I did want to just show this one because I think it's so cool. So topics for today, since we're not going to talk about retro stuff a whole lot, is I want to talk about some of the ones I really liked in 2021. And I want to talk about some of the fun mod projects. I am definitely not the best modder in the world by any means. Probably most of the people who would follow me would be way better, but I'm very enthusiastic and put in a lot of effort in it and really enjoy it. So before I get into, I'm going to do the ones I really liked in 2021 first, then I'm going to go into some projects. Anyone who's on the stream today who comes and joins, I want to do a little draw for a $25 Out of Darts gift card because I have had a couple of comments from people saying, oh, I wish I could afford to do a project. Get a spring. Springers are a great place to start for sure. Flywheel projects can get expensive, but get yourself a couple springs for even that strong arm that I showed or a Retaliator. I don't have an assistant handing me things from off camera. This Retaliator, this is such a cool one. This Retaliator costs $5.99 from Value Village, our version of Goodwill here in Canada. And it's already primed. Shame on me. Ooh, hit the target. It cost $5.99. The spring in it was $8 from Out of Darts. I got it as part of an order. You can even get them from Amazon too. I like to support Out of Darts where I can, but if you're somewhere where you don't want to pay the massive shipping, if you're out of the U.S. anyway, there's other places you can get them. But for under $15 or around $15, you can get a blaster that you could take to most events. I would think this thing fires around 130 feet per second, so it's double what it was back in its heyday. So I mean, I think that makes this a really cool blaster and not an expensive blaster. That's what I love about Nerf in general, is it can be pretty inclusive. You can get going and have something pretty high performing without spending a ton of money. You can also spend a ton of money. Don't get me wrong, but you don't have to. You only do that if you have YouTube dreams. So yeah, let's talk about so many blasters came out in 2021. If I don't talk about one, it's maybe that it wasn't my favorite, or it's maybe that I just forgot about it while I was setting up piles of blasters. But I'm going to zip through those because I don't want to take forever. I was thinking an hour would be good. The contest thing, before I forget, I have a spinny wheel thing. I was going to do it during the stream. I feel like I'll just be fumbling with that. I'm going to go through the log. Hopefully everything's still there and I can see it. I'm going to go through that. I'll add people in and I'll post a short of the wheel spinning and I'll give it out that way. That way you're not seeing me fumble. You guys have seen me fumble enough. If you noticed me wearing snow pants, I was, because I was out shoveling before this. Anyway, let's go to 2021's blasters that I really liked. Where to start? You think I would have planned where to start? You know what? I'll start with one that I think everyone can agree on. The Boomdozer. Nerf put out Mega XL this year. I should be keeping an eye on the chat more. That's what people should do when they do these things. Oh, look at that. There's Matt. Cool. So the Mega XL, I think everyone's been enjoying it. There's been a lot of modding of this one. I actually have one of these that I put in a 3D printed cylinder from Chicken that fires 3 Mega Darts at once instead of a Mega XL. So that's cool. Mine doesn't work super well. I need to mod the spring, which he said you should mod the spring. Don't just change the cylinder. I just changed the cylinder, so I'm the problem. Mega XL came out and whoa, right in the target. I'm going to do multicam next time. As you can see, I'm not ready for that. But I would love to have a camera set up on the target. Honest to goodness, a Mega XL dart went right in the 75 on my little target. Anyway, these are a lot of fun blasters. All three of them are actually pretty good. I've had a lot of fun with this one. I made up some games that we played at the 30-year-old's birthday party. Played a game where I hid this in a building. We were lucky. We were able to rent a whole building. It actually had like a Chinese food restaurant in the building. We couldn't access the kitchen, but we could use the dining room. We used the dining room and like conference rooms. And we played a game where the birthday boy was a Terminator. I think he had like a high capacity rival blaster, and everyone else was a Terminator. So everyone else had a sword, and they had to walk around towards him. If he shot any of them with his blaster, they had to stop for 3 seconds, and then they could keep going, Terminator style. He had to search the building, find the Mega XL, find this Boomdozer, and a shot from the Boomdozer was the only thing that could kill a Terminator. We had some good laughs. He said he actually felt the stress of, tagging a bunch of us and having to kind of dodge through us while we were on pause. So this has been a cool one, and I mean, all blasters are good because you can think of awesome games and rules for them. Even some Ultra ones are good. So yeah, Boomdozer. Really, really like that one. You know what? Oh God. I'm gonna skip over. I can't believe I have a Hyper Blaster in here, but I do. This is the. I think by the fact that there's a bunch of new rival coming out, I think Hyper is probably going to die. Maybe it'll gasp a few more times. This Rush 40 is the only Hyper Blaster I think that's worth your time. It's gone on sale pretty cheaply. We did in a backyard game one time. I felt like I did really well for a while because I had so much capacity with this thing. There's the problem with it. It misfires a lot. All the Hyper Blasters misfire a lot because they're hopper fed, and they have to feed kind of sideways. Most hoppers, like in the Perseus or whatever, would feed into something vertically and drop down and be more dependable. This guy is not super dependable, but it's pretty good. As long as I'm sitting, if you're out and running around and you have this naturally down, it's pretty good. Fires about 110 feet per second, high capacity. The ammo is pretty cheap. This is a pretty good one. If I was going to a game somewhere, I would probably have this as a sidearm. If I was allowed to use it with the rubber balls and the environment and all that stuff. So Hyper, a cool one. I'm piling my reviewed blasters on top of the old ones. I think I have to talk about the dinosaur line. All these Dino blasters are super cool, and as much as I love more realistic blasters and all the builds people do, these dinosaur blasters I think are like a good return to form for Nerf. They look cool. They are obviously a toy. They can be modded. This one kind of works like a Strife. It's a semi-auto. I squeeze the flywheels here, and look at that. I can fire out my whole clip. It's pretty accurate. I've never shot so well because no one can see it. I really like this blaster. A lot of people really like this blaster, and we saw a lot of cool paint jobs and things like that as well. Continuing on with the dinosaur theme, not to go over all of them, but I think they're all pretty good. I think all three of the ones, and there's a new one coming. There's a new one that's kind of based on like a disruptor coming out too. But this one, it breaks down here, and it's a hammer prime, and you can fire 3 darts in a row. I won't get into all this. I did a review. I did a short review on the Dino blasters. I might go back and do a longer one, even if nobody watches it. I like doing reviews. And the last one in that line is this Stego Smash. This Stego Smash, I think, is pretty neat. It's only a T prime. It's a very simple blaster. I did a lot of plinking with this one. I took it in a backpack. I took it up to the highest mountain in the Maritimes where I live, and I fired it straight up. It's just so I could say I fired a dart higher than anyone else, probably, unless somebody fired a dart on a plane, which that's probably not a good idea. This is a cool, comfy, well-performing blaster. Doing a little squeaky down here. Hyper might still have a shot from my friend at Nerf Doc. Yeah, maybe. I think there's things they can do with it. Like I said, I guess I just said any blaster can be good. Sure, any blaster can be good. The Rush 40 is kind of neat. The Mach 100, my biggest problem with the big Mach 100 is it was nowhere near as good as the Perseus. I did a side-by-side with those, and the Perseus right here, which is one of my favorites, just blows it away. Like, if you're doing something new, it should offer something new, and it really offered nothing new. The capacity of the Mach 100 was higher than the stock capacity of the Perseus, but the Perseus is very easy to put a 3D printed hopper. I have one from out of darts on. The Mach 100 would be a bit more of a pain to even do that. So I don't know. Other favorites. You know what? Let's talk about. We just talked about dinosaurs. Let's talk for a second about dragons. The Advanced Dungeons and Dragons blasters are all pretty cool. There's a fire shot that's kind of the dragon version of the Stego Smash, the one I just showed. It's really good too. The only reason I don't have it here is it's kind of similar to the Stego Smash one. I do have it. It's just somewhere. And the other D&D one is a bow. I like bows, but it's not the greatest bow, but it's fine. The Ember Strike though is kind of the shining star of 2 in the target. I need a second camera. It's kind of the star of it. My only complaint about this one is the grip's a little funky, but this thing, it feels premium. It looks premium. It has different plastics on it. It's painted really nice. It's really good. It's so good. It makes you wonder how the Mandalorian blaster was so bad. Just in case Family Foam Sports watching, I'd like to mention how bad it is. Let's go over from there. I'm almost done. Then I'm going to get into projects. I'm going quick. Maybe too quick. Live and learn. The Curve Shot blasters. The Helix was a pretty big disappointment. I didn't even bring it over. I had a lot of troubles with it feeding. It was a hopper-fed Springer, which I think is cool, just like the Hyper stuff. But the balls, you put the balls in the hopper, and it was too horizontal. Like the track in the I should be holding the Helix, not this one that I like. Um, the track for the balls is just too horizontal. I think I had a ton of misfires. I think if the balls had been more vertical so that they went where they were supposed to, it would have been better. But they didn't, and it wasn't. But this one, this hyper, I'll just put a couple in. I preloaded most things. There we go. The curve shots, the curve shot thing is a little bit of a gimmick because it hop ups already existed. The hop up in the curve shots is a bit more exaggerated. You basically turn it one way or the other, and it puts target. It puts a curve on the ball even more so, kind of like if you're slicing your golf shot. These blasters were pretty good. There was a trio of them. This one's probably, I think, the best one. Just my opinion. I need to remember to unload that later, or I'll be so unhappy. I don't know why I put 5 in there. Let's go. I just opened, that's probably because this is so new. I just opened this up. I've had it for a while. I opened up the Ultra Amp because I do really like Strife type things. I like semi-autos probably more than full auto in some ways. If you put the AccuStrike, the new Ultra darts in here, it's actually pretty accurate. Mine seems to fire pretty straight at the flywheels, which with flywheel Ultra Blasters can be a crapshoot. This one works pretty good. Its performance is 100 FPS out of the box. It's nice and compact. It's pretty comfortable. I wish this grip was detachable, but that's okay. I wish the sight was detachable, but if we need to take it off, we can take it off. But I actually think this is a pretty solid blaster if you got it on sale. I mean, you have to deal with new ammo, but anyway, every blaster has a chance, I guess. There's a modder who does that. I feel I don't want to. I'm not stealing it. It's just I really like it. He does mods and kind of gives other blasters a chance, and I think that's a really neat philosophy. I'm gonna get into Fortnite. I have a bit of a weird thing around branded blasters. Like I feel like Lego's gone downhill a little bit since they're all franchise. Like there's some cool sets. I have the Voltron, but they're all franchise based. I know they're not all. I know there are other ones, but nobody, like kids don't care as much about the non-franchise ones. I feel the same way about Nerf. Like I like that the dragon ones are just dragons and not Jurassic Park dragons or something. All that said, I do like Fortnite ones, just to contradict myself. I do think these are not bad. A lot of people kind of didn't like that this was not a flywheeler because it is an SMG, but it has a really cool color. You can take stuff down. It's kind of like a newish, harder to mod version of a Retaliator type of thing. So I mean, it's pretty good. It has okay performance. If you take off the barrel like all Nerf blasters, it performs better. But I think it's pretty good. Gotta remember to empty that clip later, or I will be angry at myself. And if we're talking Fortnite, I don't have a lot of Mega here. We should talk about this one. I think this blaster looks really cool. It took a little extra for me to prime it because this one also belongs in my project part of the chat. This one is modded. It has a couple springs in it, which I know some people don't like spring doubling, but it's what I had, and it worked. This one gets 90 some now. 90 to high 90s, whereas stock, I think it was 60s. But this is a target again. This is a fun blaster. Like, and you know what? I would recommend this for kids too. Like, any kid's gonna feel pretty cool blasting mega darts at their parents or siblings or whoever or friends. Has this little fold down bipod. You can mod it. I don't like, and I did a video on removing it, I don't like that this barrel, once it snaps on for good. It's a pain to take off. You can take it off, you just have to unscrew everything. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a really cool blaster. I could argue, I'm looking at it, you can't see me doing it. I would argue the Centurion does some things better. The Centurion has a really cool long prime on it, which makes you feel like you're really doing something cool. It's hard to mod though. It's reverse plunger tube. If you don't know what that is, We'll talk about it later, but it makes it harder to mod. And it also does this thing where you fire it and it does like a fake recoil. I wish they'd implemented some of that into this, but I mean, this is a second camera. This is a beautiful shell. And the reason I'm making a big deal about hitting targets is I'm not a good shot at all. This is a really good blaster. This, I have cranked my way through most of 2021 that I like. You know what? I'm bringing out this trio. I'm always telling people to, you do not, especially for kids, you do not need to spend, nor probably should you, spend a lot on blasters. Especially if they've never had them before, get them something small like this. This was $10. This has gone on sale. You could get it for $7 Canadian. Blasters like this are awesome. They're not complicated. They're easy for kids to use because of that T-prime. They don't hurt a lot. They're a little slower FPS, but they still, you can still hit things. Get kids small blasters to start, I think. If I was not doing a live stream right now, my nose is itchy, and I would trim that out. I'm gonna rub it. I'm sorry, that's live. I'm gonna end 2021 stuff that I really liked with this guy. As much as I say like go simple and I like gimmicky ones, the Dart Zone Pro Mark III is an incredibly cool blaster. I have a LiPo in this right now. The cool thing about that one is LiPo batteries are, hobbyists would use those and all sorts of things. Most people here are probably pretty into Nerf and they know. But not all. My mom might be here. LiPo batteries are kind of high power batteries that people use in RCs and drones and things like that. This one, without any modding, could accept a LiPo, and that was kind of a big deal in the hobby. This blaster is also cool because it has select fire built right in, full auto and semi-auto. The full auto is maybe a little slower than people wished it was, but the more I use it, the more I'm fine with it. I'm not going to mod this one. I'm going to save my mod money for old blasters that really need it. I'm in semi-auto here. That clip was, my clip's feeding funny. I thought it was that's never good. That is the only thing about having so much thrifted stuff. Clips are weird. Let's try full auto. This is a cool blaster. So this blaster is kind of expensive. Canadian, it's $160, right? So it's expensive. But I'm going to tell a very, very quick story. I have a couple different friends who their kids are, they're early teenagers, 14, 15, and they really, they used to be in a Nerf. They really want to play airsoft. Nothing wrong with airsoft at all. I used to play paintball. I think paintball is super cool. I've never played airsoft, but I'm sure it would be really fun. The thing is, at that age, they're not old enough to really go play on fields and stuff. They can play paintball. But, the thing is about that is it's so hard to get out and actually play. Nerf, you can do in your backyard. You can do it. I do in the basement. You can do it in a park. I take Nerf camping. When you're getting into the higher FPS stuff, you do need to wear eyewear, and you need to make sure all the other kids wear eyewear. But I love introducing things like this and modded ones to kids who are thinking that, because they could probably have a lot more fun by investing in something like this. I mean, airsoft's not cheap, and what you're spending on airsoft, you could get something like this. I just think that's my high horse moment. I just think that probably makes more sense for kids. They just don't know it. Especially in Canada, we don't have quite as much of a Nerf culture as the US would have, for sure. The Dart Zone Pro also, the Mark III, also takes short darts, which is really cool. The short darts fire a little bit slower, but they are much more accurate. They would be more accurate. Mine are pretty chewed up. Anyway, this is a really good blaster. I was very excited to get it. This will get used a lot, and it's a fun one to demo to people. I mean, part of the fun with Nerf is just showing them different blasters and seeing the smile on their face. I went away to a cottage with some friends for my birthday, or on my birthday. It happened to be my birthday. My friend was already going to the cottage and invited us up, and I took this and a couple blasters that were project ones, and we were in the basement shooting at cans, and
introducing it to a bunch of different people. The other thing I like about Nerf is it's just a lot more inclusive. Like I have plenty of friends that if I handed them airsoft, like they don't even want to fire it. Like they're just a little bit timid of it. Whereas I don't know, you say Nerf or you say foam darts, and people are like, "Oh, I'll check that out." I think that's cool. That's my preachy bit about Nerf, and I guess why not preach. I mean, people can do whatever. I just think you get a lot of money's worth for doing stuff like that. I wonder what I'm at for time. I'm doing pretty good for time. I'm like halfway, so that's good. Not that we have to go full hour either. Do I have a striker or Mark 1.1? No, this is the sad thing about being. I mean, I like being in Canada. The sad thing about being in Canada, though, is we don't have Target. I can't get a max striker, and because of COVID and the borders, I haven't been able to get down to Target. When I eventually get down there, I'm gonna buy so many chili darts, and I'm gonna buy so many things. It's going to be a shopping spree. So yeah, I don't have a 1.1 either. I would love to have one. I do have a Dart Zone Pro Mark II. I didn't bring it out just because I was sticking with 2021. The Dart Zone Pro Mark II is great, so I have one of those, and I have a Mark III. I don't have a 1.1. I would like to, but yeah, the Target thing, sucks. I'm just doing a little scan through. I'm just trying to make sure. Matt asking, do you have one of the kids down there dinging the targets? I've never seen you shoot so well. I'm actually doing it, but I can never prove it. But the kids aren't here, honest. I'm gonna move over into project blasters. I'm gonna try to stick to projects that I've done in 2021, which should be easy because that's basically all of them. I've really gotten more and more into modding and really enjoying that. I'm gonna show you first one that I just did last night. If I can find it. What do I do with it? I won't wait awkwardly here too long if I can't find it, but oh, there it is. It's underneath. It's underneath the boom dozer. So when this one came out, I have a bit of a hate on for barrels. I think they can look cool, but they just slow down performance so much unless the heavy Fortnite, the long sniper one, it's modded. It actually, the barrel doesn't affect it too much. I think it's going out with so much force that the dart's staying straight enough that it's not rubbing on the walls of the barrel too much. But this thing, the barrel kills performance, but it looks neat. It's neat to be able to have it on. I put it on thinking, well, I'll just take it off. I'll undo the screws. I had to take apart the entire blaster. I did a video on that. It was a massive pain. I had to take apart the entire thing to get the barrel back off. So once I got the barrel off, I printed out from Thingiverse a new N-Strike barrel lug from, I forget his name on Thingiverse. But anyway, someone was kind enough to, if you search Fortnite 6SH on Thingiverse, you can find it. I printed it out. I had a blue that was kind of similar-ish because I haven't gotten into painting yet. I want to, though. So I did this. So I'm like, oh, well, this is cool. And now, I can put the other, because the other Fortnite blasters had regular N-Strike barrel lugs. N-Strike barrel lug, unless I'm wrong, but I think that just means it has like a little adapter system that you can cross plug in. Like I could put this on a Retaliator or anything that has kind of this grooved barrel thing. So I did that, and that was cool. But then I was like, oh, this is a shame that I can't use this. This looks neat. Spoiler alert, you saw me take it off. I did a project the other night where I just Dremeled the heck out of the inside of this. We got pretty thin to the wall. There's just barely enough room. I took an adapter ring from an old Nerf barrel. I have a bunch of them from thrifting stuff. And I Dremeled that down really thin, and I epoxied it in. And now this one is, it's N-Strike like it should have been. So now I can swap this barrel onto other blasters like a Retaliator. So I think this is kind of fun. This is probably, embarrassingly maybe, one of the first mods that I've done where I wasn't looking at someone's example of someone and doing it. I mean, obviously not this. I printed this off and did it, so someone's done it. But I haven't seen this. I'm not saying that no one's done it, just that I didn't look up anyone to do it. I just thought, yeah, I measured. It looks like it'll fit, and I did that. So it was fun to just carve it out and put in some epoxy and do a thing that works. That's really fun when you mod stuff. I mentioned that this Fortnite blaster, this was kind of fun to take apart. I experimented with a bunch of springs. What I have in it now is it has a
25-ish, 25 to 30 performance boost in the new spring. So that's neat. I think I talked earlier about... I've done a few of these. I think this is one of the most affordable mods you can do. Put a 7 kilogram spring. I've experimented a bit. I find 9 is too much for a Retaliator. It led to problems, and it gets harder to operate. And for an adult, like, the kids have a hard time priming this. Like 5 kg would probably be better for a kid, or 6. But for me, I spent almost nothing on this blaster, and the spring wasn't very expensive. And now I have, you know, right in the target. Now I have an amazing blaster. I use this all the time, and you can like take 2 clips and tape it clip to clip and flip them. Like, have a lot of capacity. This is a great option. I'm gonna start leaving clips out, so I'm not leaving them in. Other mod projects. So, I mean, a simple one. I'm a big Hammershot fan. This one has an upgraded 5 or 6 kilogram spring in it. Woo. And so its performance, you know, instead of being in like that Hammershot, right in the target, that Hammershot 55 or so. I mean, it varies, but this is kind of consistently in the 70s or so, I think. So I mean, it takes a blaster that's a pretty low performer and makes it. You shouldn't dry fire it though, because it has no air restrictor. Whoops. It takes a pretty normal blaster or underperforming and brings it up to par. But I love the look of this blaster. It's a fun one. There's lots more mods to do with this. You know what? I'm skipping around a bit, but I want to show. I had not played around with this blaster at all. It's a Battle Scout. I hadn't played with it at all. And then you should check out Foam Blasted. He is in Germany. He designs a whole bunch of cool stuff on his Etsy shop. He sells the files. He did a harmonica clip for the Battle Scout. And I had a Battle Scout, and I'd actually never fired it because they never come with the clips. So he made one of these. He put out a call for some people to test, and myself, and I saw a couple other people, or at least one other Family Foam Sport. He did some testing, and I just had such a good time messing around with this, and I'm right in the 25. I'm so grateful to be able to actually use this now. And not only that, I have this printed off. I'm not going to do a video on this. I have an upgrade spring coming for this, so I want to paint this up. I have some neon lights I want to put in it. I'm going to be the only person, well, I was going to say the only person to care about a Battle Scout in quite a while, but I did just see a really nice one the other day. But this is really fun. I mean, I love the community aspect. I love talking to people about this stuff. You know, it's fun to mod by yourself, but it's also really fun to talk to other people about it. And actually, speaking of this, a friend of mine actually came over the other night, and we modded. I helped him mod his old Retaliator that he was going to give to me, and then we did the birthday party, and he's like, "I'm going to keep it and mod it," and I immediately ordered him a spring and said, "Come, let's hang out." And he made me that Maritime Foam wooden sign for my birthday. So thank you, Josh. You should check out, if you're in the area, his woodworking business, Warbler Woodworking. You can find him on Instagram. Not a sponsored post. Anyway, mods are fun. What else do we have here? I don't want to go too crazy. This is a fun one. This is a $9 blaster. It's a Busby Adventure Force double fire. And you put in a couple darts, and you can fire one at a time, or if I squeeze the trigger hard, it fires both. I took this apart. I took out the dart posts. There were little posts that sat inside the darts, and air restrictors. If you don't know what air restrictors are, that's for another time, but it's basically something that just is on a spring and like closes. Well, it depends how it's done. It basically closes one channel when the dart's been fired, so the air can push out the other side. I took out the air restrictors. I'm not describing that well. I took out the air restrictors though, and actually got like a 15 to 20 FPS boost out of taking out the air restrictors in the dart posts, just because the air was allowed to flow more freely. And because I took out the posts, then I could load in half darts. And now it's actually a shotgun, because I can do a squeeze and fire a blast of 4 darts. Yeah, 2 from each barrel. And then I thought, well, this would be goofy. I made some 1/3 length darts so that I could do even more of a buckshot. Where'd you go? Thing. So this fires 6 at once. Anyway, this is not an expensive blaster. The cool thing I like about this mod is it costs nothing. It's just removing some stuff. So, I mean, if you're ever thinking of doing mod, this was a pain to take apart, but there's videos and stuff. I have a video. I played around with this a lot. It was really, really fun. I think it's a cool blaster. I was telling Matt that I want to do, this is pretty nerdy, but I would love to do theme loadouts. Like, I think having this on your back and using a zombie strike, what's it called? The one with the chainsaw on the end. It's basically a rough cut with a foam chainsaw on the end. I forget. Anyway, like that would be a great Evil Dead loadout. Or, you know, you have like a melee lightsaber or something. Anyway, this is a fun blaster. Cool little project. I'm running out of time. I do like 3D printing quite a bit. I'm a big fan of Meeker Arms. If you've never checked out Meeker Arms, check him out on Etsy. He has a whole bunch of blasters that he's basically built off of Rival Knockouts. The Rival Knockout is a great blaster. He basically has all the parts and tells you how. And I mean, it's easier if you have a 3D printer, so it's not easy for everyone. But you can make the Rival Knockout into so many things. This one fires a Demolisher rocket. I did not hit a target. Which is so cool. I know Dr. Flux has one of these he uses in his loadout because it's such a portable way to have a rocket launcher. Usually Nerf rockets are fired by hamps, which are basically there's no spring or anything like that. You're just like squeezing air and making it pop out. It's cool that this one's actually spring fired. It is a brain saw. Thank you very much. You are correct. So many blasters, I just forget sometimes. This was an early mod project, and I'll probably have a more cohesive theme next time than just like running. I'm just running through lists of my favorites, but whatever. This is cool. This is an Ultra 2, which I always thought the look of was super cool, but it didn't fire Ultra Darts very straight. I ordered a kit at the time. I didn't have a 3D printer from Gavin Fuzzy Customs, which if you've done some modding, you might be familiar with him. And now I converted this over and rewired it to fire Elites. It still has the stock motors in it. This one's really cool because you load it in the back, which is a pretty unique. Forward things. And then speaking of Meeker Arms, this is a little master key 3D printed. I didn't have that stretched very tight. I think I need to retie it. But it's basically a little thing underneath that you can flick and fire a mega dart if you need to bust a shield. So how cool is that to be able to put a master key on a little blaster? People have asked before what a master key is. It's kind of based on a real life shotgun system. It's basically just a blaster usually that goes underneath. There's a mega blaster that people use a lot. I have 10 of them. People use a lot for master keys because it's good to have mega to bust shields and you put it underneath another blaster. This, you could barely call this a mod project, I guess. I found this V1 of the D-Dart Tempest. This is a neat, unique blaster. There's a bunch of new ones coming out that I'm really excited for. This is cool though. The V1 didn't fire full-length darts, it had its own proprietary dart. They fixed that since, but I had one for $5, so I just took it apart and took the rail that kept the and they stay in pretty good unless you really shake it. Now this one fires full-length darts, just so I can play around with it. I mean, the rate of fire is not fast by any means. You can mod this to be pretty good. But it's a cool little gauntlet blaster. It's kind of weird. You turn it on, it stays on all the time, which I don't know that I would like if I was running around. I've never used this in a game because I only recently was able to make it shoot darts that I had. But I'm looking forward to playing around with this one a bit. I do think it's a really neat idea, especially if you had 2 of those. That's potentially a lot of ammo capacity. And I think I've gone through. Oh no, I do want to go through this one. This is probably one of the more special mod projects to me. This was my first kind of real electronics mod where I wasn't using a kit to build something, I usually I would have the battery hidden better. But this old Nerf Raven, this was one of the first. This is one of the first flywheel blaster or magazine fed or flywheel blasters, I think. Anyway, the performance of this one was terrible. So I took it apart, gutted things out. It runs now on Daybreak flywheels with Kraken motors, 3S LiPo build, a lot of dremeling, kind of a lot of headache. I actually accidentally burned out a set of motors with a friend, which felt very expensive. It's a semi-auto bullpup. I just knocked the target over. It hits pretty hard. So I just think it's cool. This thing, when I bought it, did 55 FPS at best because it lived a hard life. And now, I'm pretty sure the first time I built, before I burnt the motors out, I was getting like in the 150s. Now this gets about in the 140s. I have read sometimes just different motors can be, it can be different sometimes. But anyway, it still is a hard hitter. Just hit my camera. Just hit my camera again. My Adventure Force darts, the Adventure Force waffles, the only ones I like using, they are living a hard life. I need to get a bunch of new ones. Their trajectories are all over the place. But anyway, this one is super special to me. I want to do more builds like this. I want to spend a little bit less time maybe buying kits and things like that, even though there are so many cool ones, and spend some time taking some of the cool old blasters that I like, or new ones, like taking that Rex Rampage, that dinosaur one, and making that 3S LiPo build would be super fun, I think. So yeah, and then I'm gonna bring it out just because the Jupiter is one of my favorites. It's basically like my go-to at parties to amaze people, and I built it last year. I did not build it. Is that true? I don't think that's true. I think I did build the Jupiter. I bought it the year before, but I think I built it last year. So yeah, never mind. I don't have to justify myself. I built it last year, and on its own, you put in rival magazines, and it would blow through those, like the whole clip in a second. It was super cool and fun. And then eventually, Out of Darts put out the Proton Pack, which is such a cool thing. I remember the first time I saw this, I was like, man, I have to get one of those. And I did. I got the kit for this. This was a kit. I built this myself. This is how I learned to solder. Lots of trial and error. Some great customer support from Out of Darts. If you're ever thinking of doing a first project, that's why I want to give away a couple of gift cards to Out of Darts, because they're just such a great business. I built one of these with my stepson, and at a party he was at, the motors were burned out, and I mentioned it to Out of Darts, just saying, hey, I just want to confirm that I'm ordering kind of the same thing as I had before, the right thing. This was quite a while ago. And they heard the story and they sent me new ones. Like, that's just, I wasn't expecting that. It was just so nice. So I will always support them wherever I can. So anyway, this is the Proton Pack. When you combine these two, it is phenomenal. It's probably not as practical as just using a Percy's with an expanded hopper. That Percy's will hold about 160 rounds. That's a lot of rounds. You take that in a bag. Like, I would probably use that over a Proton Pack if I was playing a game somewhere. But at parties and with kids and showing people, this is such a cool, or for like stationary position games, I've used it for that. I have a great video where I put down some smoke flares. I put a couple of kids in the center with one with the Proton Pack and one with the Percy's, and like 8 other kids trying to take over their position, and they could have held off 30 kids with these. Anyway, without further ado, I'll just fire this a few times. Like, that's so cool. I don't know that I want to fire through the whole thing, because then I'd have to pick them all up. Hitting the cables on my thing. I am noticing I'm not getting... I feel like I need to tune it a little bit or something. I feel like I'm not getting... The agitator's not spinning as much, but anyway, I need to tweak it. That's what modding is, especially kits and 3D blasters. You're doing a lot of tweaking. You have to be okay with that. They're not... You don't do it and never look at it again forever. This thing has fired probably over 10,000 rounds easily. I would say, because it's firing 500 at once. No, it's fired probably tens of thousands of rounds. That's so I can forgive it if it's being a little funky. Yeah, I gotta tweak it. I think the agitator's not going the whole time. But anyway, it is just a crazy, crazy, crazy fun blaster, a crazy fun thing to use. I couldn't enjoy it anymore. As far as what's up next, projects that are up next, I bought it just before Out of Darts removed them from the store. I wish I had a picture or something. I'll be more prepared next time that way. If you Google Out of Darts rival Hurricane, it takes a Zeus, the first rival flywheeler, and runs this tubing all around it and has a blower in it and makes the Zeus 90 some round capacity. I always thought that looked cool. That was one I saw early when I started modding, and I wanted a kit. I wanted to make one to say I had one. I wanted to have one up on my wall, so I am going to do that kit at some point. I have all the parts. I actually need to order new flywheels because I had to use the flywheels for it to fix this build when I burned it out. But I do have all the stuff and a little OLED screen to do a select fire, hyperfire full auto build where I can tune the FPS and it'll show me on screen how fast darts are leaving. That's going to be an insane build to do. Eric back down in the US. I got a board from him, a select fire board, to do that project. He's been really good about answering questions. I keep meaning to get to it. We've been chatting for months and months and months, and I still haven't done the project. There's always something I need. I need some really small gauge wires as well as some new motors. But I will get to that. I think that'll be a fun project. I love the idea of being able to turn down the FPS so you can still play with kids. Because that's the other thing. Like, you don't want every blaster to just like scream as high as it will, because the kids wouldn't ever play Nerf with me if that was the case. But it is nice to have a mix. Anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed a little bit of this. Oh, Danielle mentioned I do have a Weasel Nut Grabber to pick up the Nerf rival balls. The Weasel Nut Grabber, it has a great name. It's over there somewhere. I would grab it, and you guys have already seen my snow pants enough. It's basically this garden tool for picking up walnuts, and people use them because they are the perfect thing to pick up rival balls. So the Weasel Nut Grabber, that's what that is. If you saw that comment, I'm just gonna do a scan through before I. Hawk Moon from Destiny is the Ultra Blaster. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I like that one more than I thought, to be honest. Yeah. Anyway, show us the Fortnite 6SH. Oh, did you miss that one earlier? Let me put it, if I can find it here again. Yeah, this guy. Here it is right here. This was the one I was talking about where you can take the barrel on and off. And I actually just did a short video on that if you want to see more about the 6SH. I think I'm going to wrap it up. This was a lot of fun. I talked a whole lot. I didn't... I don't know how I did as far as like looking at comments and things like that. I definitely tried to put some darts in the barrel before. I did have darts in. They probably just went out so fast that you might not have seen them. So this was cool. I really enjoyed having a few people watching. I kind of purposefully did not work too hard at putting the word around because I knew that I would end up doing something silly, and I did do something silly. So I'm super happy for who did show up, and it's cool. A few people who've left lots of comments were here, and I think that's really neat. And I will put up a short later with who I'm going to send that little gift card to so that you can do a little project of your own. And when you do that, I'd love to know what you did. So I am going to get up because I have to go over there to press the end stream button. I'm going to get up and I'm going to end the stream. So this was very fun. Thank you very much. And until next time, I'll see you later. If only I could just end the stream without having to get up and walk away. I'm going to get up and walk away. Bye.